This is the disassemble procedure for the Samsung Captivate. And real quick, we'll go over the tools you'll need for the repairs. Start off with two size 2x50 screwdrivers, one size 1.5x50 Phillips head screwdriver, one pair of tweezers. For the charging connector and the LCD digitizer unit, I'll use a heat gun. You can also use a hair dryer. With that, I will use a batting glove as well. You can use any type of glove. And then for the liquid damage repairs, I'll do the rubbing alcohol and toothbrush. And for the more advanced repairs, I'll use an ultrasonic cleaner with the powdered solution for electronics. The main things you will want to use are the guitar picks as well. Those kind of a integrated part for the whole phone. So that's the last item. So we'll get started. With the phone, flip it over and move this bottom cover down, which will release the battery door. You set that aside. Then you'll want to lift up the battery itself and remove that. Now with the repairs, you'll want to keep everything in order because you don't want to get something out of order. So just remember, what you take out, kind of place it in line. Now you'll want to remove an SD card or SIM card, whatever you have in the phone. You'll definitely want to move those because sometimes they get in the way of the housing when you try to remove the housing. So you want to set that aside as well. Now with this, you'll have 6 screws and 2 under here, this bottom cover down here. You have 2 right at the bottom, 1 and 1. So we'll take these out, kind of starting with the top. And what I like to do is kind of use my finger as a guide to help with removing these screws. So you notice, kind of lay my thumb across. Just helps line everything up and make it a little easier to get the placement just right. So the first 4 up top are pretty straightforward. The 2 at the bottom, you'll have to kind of know the trick of getting that bottom cover out of the way. So once I have those 4 out, I'll just pinch the corner right here of this bottom cover right here. I'll pinch this and just squeeze it down, which will remove or allow me to get into that screw right there. So take that screw out. Remember to keep everything in order. And then the bottom down here as well, I'll do the opposite. I'll just pinch it up and it releases that. And it really helps to have the screwdriver of this size because it'll be kind of hard to get into this area if you just had, kind of a larger screwdriver. So if you have a stubborn screw like that, I'll usually use the tweezers just to kind of get in there. Just give it a pop and it pops it up. Okay. So once you have that, you want to make sure you put this cover back in order. Just get it straight. And then we'll go back to the front of the phone. Now let's go to the close-up shot and I'll show you in between the phone and the glass, the actual frame and the glass. There's kind of, there's a space kind of all the way around. And what you'll be able to do is get your guitar pick in that space and be able to release the frame or the housing off. So we'll go back to the main shot. And I usually start in the kind of bottom corner down here and just get the guitar pick in there and kind of move it up a little at a time. And you want to be careful if your LCD and your glass is okay. You don't want to press too hard on this. You want to keep more of the pressure on the side because if you press too hard on that, you'll end up cracking it. So you get a little bit of separation on that. You can kind of then work the bottom of the phone as well. And I'll just kind of continue it around. Just kind of keep going around. And then do the same thing on this side. Some pressure. Move it up. And once you get enough pressure and it releases, it'll kind of release the majority of the phone. So there's that. You can try to try to separate it, wiggle it back and forth, and it should release most of the frame. So once you get that released, there's your phone. You can set the housing, the back housing down. We'll go back to this. Now with this, you'll have 5 cables. You want your LCD, your camera, your headphone jack, speaker. This is the motherboard flex cable that goes down to your navigation sensor, and then you also have your antenna. So you want to unplug all of these, minding all the other components on the board. You want to be careful that you don't damage any of them. So when you're kind of blindly getting under a plug, you just want to get just the corner and lift it up enough to where you can get separation between the plugs. And then here with the antenna cable, lift that up and just bend them back ever so slightly just to get them out of the way. And so once you have all of those, you have one screw right here that you also want to take out, and you'll want to set that aside. So we'll take the screw out, put that down. Now once you have all that out, you should be able to get right down in this little corner and just give it a lift and then pull it back towards you, and it should release the board out of the phone. Now that's how you get down to basically just the frame.